Welcome back to Computer Organization course. Today we will study Universal Serial Bus under Standard I/O Interface concept. This is the third part of Standard I/O interfaces. In previous two-part videos we have discussed PCI bus as well as SCSI bus. Part 1 of this video we discussed PCI bus. Then in the part 2 we have discussed SCSI bus, and in part 3 we are discussing today USB, that is Universal Serial Bus. All these topics comes under Standard I/O interfaces. Universal Serial Bus or USB is developed using a combined effort and research from various organizations to have a simple input-output interface. For example, SCSI bus or PCI bus, they have their own limitations. Now we see some features of USB here. The USB works in two different mode or speed of the data transfer. To connect the I/O devices which works in a slow speed, USB has a low speed mode called 1.5 megabits per second. And one more mode is a full speed mode where USB transfers data of 12 megabits per second, which is used for high speed I/O devices. Now later in USB 2.0, the second version of USB, they introduced one more mode called high speed mode where I/O devices can transfer data of 480 megabits per second. Now various versions of USB has been introduced in the market with different speeds. These three about initial two versions. Another important feature of USB is it overcomes the port limitation of SCSI as well as PCI bus. Here there is no limit for number of devices we are connecting in the USB. It follows a tree-like structure that I will explain later to overcome port limitation. Again, it is independent of every I/O device characteristics. Any I/O devices which have USB connectivity can directly connect to the computer with USB port. Then one more important feature of USB is it is truly plug and play. So there is no need of any hardware changes or require extra softwares. Just a device you have to connect using a USB port and your computer identifies it and data transmission can take place. Now let us see what is the USB tree structure, which is used to overcome the port limitation. Before studying USB tree structure, let me explain you what is USB hub. In the diagram, the device you can see is a USB hub, which makes us or helps us to increase number of USB port from one single port. For example, this is where we have to connect the USB. When we connect this hub to USB port, one USB port, that one USB port will be converted into 3 more USB ports. That means, for example, in my laptop I have one single USB port, so that I can connect only one input output device. Now I want to make more number of USB ports from that single USB port, then I will connect the USB hub, what you are seeing in this diagram, here in this single USB port, so that it allows me to connect 3 more USB ports. So now I can connect 3 different I/O devices. So if I connect a mouse over here and keyboard over here, and I want more number of USB ports once again, so this single USB port again I can connect a hub. Now if I connect a USB hub again here, 3 more USB ports again available for me. So I can keep extending number of USB ports by connecting a single hub to USB port and get more number of USB ports using USB hub. So now let us see what is the USB tree structure. This is the USB tree structure I was talking about in all previous slides. Here the tree structure is actually upside down. That means you can see here there is a root here. These all are branches here, branches of the tree, and finally you can see leaves. Every leaf here is the end section of a branch. Every branch ends with a leaf, and the branch intersections are called nodes. Okay, these are the nodes. When two branches intersect, or two lines or more than two lines, right, intersects, it's called node. And end of every branch is called a leaf. So this is general about a tree structure. But how USB tree structure? This is a USB tree structure you can see here, where there is a root hub connected to your processor or host computer. You can see here only root hub is connected to the host computer. All other different hubs and IO devices are connected to this root hub through various hubs. Now for a computer or processor, it thinks that there is only one root hub or one IO device and makes the communication. The multiple IO devices are handled by this root hub independent of processor. So processor never comes to know that how many IO devices, various IO devices are connected through USB. For processor, it is always a single USB device, that is nothing but root hub. All these multiple IO devices individually handled by the root hub itself. So for processor, whenever it sends the data or receives the data, it imagines that, it thinks that there is only one device connected to the processor, that is root hub. Now we know what is the hub here, right? Every node of this structure, tree structure, is a hub. And hub allows us to connect multiple IO devices. A single hub converts single USB port into multiple USB ports. So leaf nodes here are IO devices. For example, in this hub, I have connected IO device over here. So that is a leaf node or leaf. Now, if instead of one IO device, if I want to connect one more IO device, then I will connect here a hub. I will make this leaf node as a hub. That hub allows me to, right, gives the two multiple port USB ports. Now here I will connect the IO devices. So this is how we can say in USB tree structure there is a root hub which is connected to the host computer or processor. And every node in the tree is actually, a hub. And every leaf node is a IO devices connected to the USB ports. Now if we need more USB ports, then connect a hub to any single USB port which gives multiple USB ports again. So there are different hub, right? 1 to 2 USB port, 1:4, 1:8, 1:6. In previous example, we just seen 1:3. A single USB port is converted to 3 multiple USB ports. Now, how exactly communication happens? This is very interesting. So when data is sent from the processor, it will be received by the root hub, because for processor there is only one USB device called root hub. Now root hub broadcast that data to all the branches, right? Every branch the data is broadcasted to. That means when a data is sent from the processor to a particular IO device through USB, that data actually reaches all the devices, and the device which is meant for the communication actually receives it. Other devices neglect the data. It's called broadcast. But when data is sent from the device to the, when data has to send from a IO device to the processor, then data is not broadcasted. Instead, data passes through the specific path and reaches the processor. Okay, not all the devices comes to know what is the data sent by a IO devices. Only hub, various hub that come through that path, right, path of the device can listen the data. So finally it reaches the root hub, and root hub delivers that data to the processor. But when processor sends the data, it is sent to the all the branches of the USB tree structure, so that every device comes to know that data. So this is how communication happens, and this is the tree structure. So main observation in this tree structure is there is a root hub which is connected to the processor, and processor thinks there is only root hub, USB root hub, only one device. Then multiple devices are connected through USB hubs. Okay, USB hub which converts single port USB into multiple ports. So every node in the USB tree structure is a hub, and every leaf, that is the end section of every branch, is a IO device. So instead of connecting IO device to a port, you can connect a USB hub and multiply number of ports. So this is the observation, and this is the universal serial bus tree structure. So this is the same theory which I explained in USB tree structure, its observations. You can go through it once again. Next we will see the how addresses are allocated, how addressing is done in USB, because USB allows connection of multiple IO devices through a tree structure. So how to identify every device separately or individually? By addressing. So how addressing is done, we will see in the next slide. All the devices which are there in the USB tree structure are assigned a 7-bit address to identify uniquely every device in the tree structure. That means all IO devices as well as all hub, even hub do have a unique 7-bit address. So root hub assigns address to all the devices present in the tree structure, including hub and IO devices. That 7-bit address, how it is allocated? So let me explain. For example, we'll take this particular hub and I will connect a new IO device here. Now just now I connected a new IO device to this particular USB port in this particular hub. Now every hub has a capacity to identify when a new device is connected. So when new IO device is connected, that hub records that information, that new device is connected. Now it stores that information in that hub itself. And periodically root hub has a habit of polling every device. That means through host computer, periodically, right, after every regular interval, root hub asks every hub, all the hubs present in the tree structure, to send the details which has recorded. That means after a particular interval, every time root hub asks all the hub to send the recorded details. That means every hub send details recorded in its hub or in its memory. So now root hub collects all the information. In that information sent by various hub, there is one information from this particular hub that a new device has been connected. So when root hub collects information from every hub periodically, that time it will come to know that a particular IO device is connected to a particular hub. So now what happens is root hub resets all the addresses, it sends a reset signal, then it communicates with the that particular IO device using the hub which is connected, okay, and then ask various information from that IO device, like what is its characteristics, its behavior, and then assigns a unique 7-bit address to that IO device. So that means in addressing, whenever a new device is connected, nobody will come to know that a new device has been connected. Only the hub to which a new device is connected comes to know. Now when initially a new device is connected, its address is 0. That means it's not a valid address. Periodically when root hub collects the data from every hub, that time root hub comes to know that a new device has been connected to a particular hub. And then root hub communicates with the IO device and assigns a unique 7-bit address. And for the host computer, whatever it has to send, it will send to the root hub only, because host computer thinks that there is only one device, root hub, connected to the processor. Then root hub using that address, right, communicates with every IO device. That I have explained in previous slide. So this is how addressing works in the USB. So this is about the same theory I explained. You can go through this. So this is about USB protocol, where how data gets transmitted and all those details. Here in USB, whatever the information getting transferred in the USB tree structure, we can categorize into two types. So one is the actual data that has to be transferred. That is the one information, the data actually has to be transferred. Or one more type of information that can transfer through the tree structure is the control information. Like when a new device is connected, address has to be assigned to it. or when data is received by a IO device, it may need to send acknowledgement to the processor that data has been received. Or maybe root hub wants to inform a IO device to initiate a data transfer. These are control informations, okay, that getting transferred in the tree structure in order to handle the data transmission. And one more type of information is the actual data that has to be transferred. Now all the information that is being transferred in the tree structure is considered as a packet. Actually packet, you're going to study in computer networks about the details of packets. Here in general we can say that packet is nothing but packets are actually information that getting transferred in the tree structure. Okay, so there are two kinds of packets. Okay, the packets which transfers control information are called control packets, and the packets which are having data, those packets being transmitted are called data packets. Okay, these are the part of information. Packets are holds data or control information. So we call control packets or data packets. So here in this slide you can see what is a data packet and what are the control packets. So now when a packet is sent or being transmitted in the tree structure, not only the required information is stored in the packet, control information or data, but also a special field called PID is there for every packet, that is packet ID called PID. Now what is the use of this PID? It is actually a PID is a 4-bit number which informs what kind of packet it is. Every packet has a PID. Looking at the PID, you can say whether the packet contains data, actual data, or the packet contains any control information, which kind of control information, whether the packet is initiate data transfer control or acknowledgement or about assigning a new address. So looking at the PID or packet ID in a packet, so we can identify what kind of packet it is or what kind of information it is carrying. So that's called packet ID. Actually it is a 4-bit packet ID. Okay, that means there are 16 different type of packets. Okay, 16 different type of packets. That means one type is data packet, and in control packets there are various type of control packets. Okay, so 4-bit is enough, 16 different type of packets. But if you see PID in any packet, USB packet being transmitted, it will be actually 8-bit, not 4-bit. So here you can see this statement, first paragraph. That means when packet ID of any packet is 4-bit, okay, we transfer it twice. Means we make that packet ID, we use it twice and make it 8-bit. That when we see packet design, we can packet structure, we can I'll explain it once again. So every what is packet ID? Packet ID informs what type of packet it is, whether it is a data packet, whether it is an acknowledgement packet, whether it is a packet about assigning a new address. So every packet, okay, has a PID. Looking at the PID, we can identify what data is there or inside the packet, or what type of data that packet is carrying. Now packet ID is 4-bit, but we will use it twice. 4-bit, again we will copy same 4-bit, so we will make it 8-bit. Okay, so this is for the confirmation purpose. Okay, whether there should not be redundancy or any modification in the packet when it is sent from one place to another place in the tree structure. So we will use that twice. Okay, we will make packet ID as 8-bit, which is actually 4-bit, but we write it twice. Now since it is a 4-bit packet ID, 2 to the power 4 is 16, means we can have 16 different type of packets. Okay, that 16 different types are nothing but one is actually data packet, or one is different type of control packets like acknowledgement of data or initiation of new address, initiation of data transfer, all those things. So now here you can see, and here this is the control packet, okay, and here is the data packet. Means control packets carries the information about, right, which helps to control data transfer between IO devices and processor. So for example, in this data control packet, see, we can see 8-bit PID. Even in data packet also you can see 8-bit PID. PID is always 8-bit. Now how exactly that PID looks like? Here they have given that PID separately. So if PID 0, 1, 2, 3 means 4-bit PID. Again we have written same PID 0 to PID 3 means again we are copying same 4-bit. So we are making 8-bit PID here. Now whether it is control packet or data packet, PID is there. Okay, a particular PID informs what kind of packet it is or what data is there inside the packet. Now this is a control packet here, which is of course has a 8-bit PID, that is 4-bit written twice, as well as some address. Okay, that means this packet, control packet, is carrying address. Okay, address of some device or something, it is actually carrying the address. Now there is a data packet here which actually carries the data. Right, PID is there for this packet also to identify that the data here is actual data. Okay, the information inside the packet is actual data. So that PID used here. Then every packet comes with a CRC, cyclic redundancy check, which is used to confirm that whatever data was there or information was there in the packet at the source, when it reaches the destination, that information should not be modified. Because of some various reason, when packet is sent from one place to another place, source to destination, the bits or information inside packet should not be modified. So to confirm that, we have cyclic redundancy check bits. Okay, these bits helps destination to find out whether data reached has not been modified in the between communication, in between of the communication somewhere. So source in the end data calls, the same thing has to be reached destination. That we can check whether data has been modified in between using cyclic redundancy check. So this is control and data packets. This is about PID, how 4-bit PID is written twice and make it as 8-bit. And every packet, whether it is a control packet, data packet, it will have a PID to identify what kind of information is carried by that particular packet. So this is the diagram where it is explained how data is getting transferred from a processor to a particular IO device connected in the tree structure of the USB. Okay. So now you can see here, initially a token is sent from the host computer using root hub. We know that only root USB hub is connected to the host computer, right? All other devices are connected using a tree structure. So the host computer sends a token which will have address of a IO device. Okay. Now we know that the tree structure of USB. That means a root hub, then right, it is connected to other hub here, and then again connected to right, maybe for a particular IO device here. So this is IO device, this is a hub here, right? This is a root hub. Let us assume this tree structure. Now this root hub want to send some data to this particular IO device. So what happens is root hub initially sends the token. You can see here token, that arrow mark red color. So root hub initially, the host or root hub initially sends token to the here to the this hub. Here you can see, right? Once, and then sends the actual data. Okay, actual data. So this particular hub here, this hub will receive token as well as the data, and the hub will respond back to the root hub saying that data has been reached. It is called acknowledgement. That is one more packet again. Here token or data, acknowledgement, everything is sent through the packets, right? So root hub sends token and data packets one after other. Once data is reached to a particular hub, it will reply back to its another hub, right, which is source, the acknowledgement packet. It sends the acknowledgement packet to inform that data has been reached. Now that hub forwards that data to the next hub present under that tree structure. If there is no hub, for example, here I told you that this is a root node, root hub, then there is a hub actually, and then under that hub there is a IO device. So here when root sends a data to a particular hub, that hub sends data to the IO device. Now if there is an intermediate hub, few more intermediate hub, it will pass through all the hub. So that is one thing. Initial token packet is sent, then data is sent. Once the destination receives the data, acknowledgement is sent back to its previous node or host or root host. So once this hub receives the data, it sends the acknowledgement to the its host. Again, the token and data received from root hub is again transferred to the device below it under the tree structure. So here there is IO device, of course. So now IO device receives the token and data. IO device also sends the acknowledgement to its previous hub, informing that data has been received. So this is how data is sent from root host to root hub to a particular IO device. Okay, and even in every intermediate step, acknowledgement is given back to its previous host or node. So the multiple data packets sent. So here you can see in this diagram. Here once a data packet is sent till here, again one more data packet is sent. So this is how you can keep sending data packets using token to the next device present in the tree structure. So it will be keep forwarding to the every branch wise. Level alli ಒಂದೊಂದೇ level alli it can keep forwarding till it reaches a IO device. Okay, this is how this is a sequence diagram of data transfer. Isochronous traffic on USB. Now let us initially see what is isochronous data transfer or what is isochronous data. See, USB is most of the time used by such IO devices which are time critical or time sensitive. In that type of IO devices, data has to be quickly transferred. There is no way of making error and handling that error, again sending data again and again. Such things cannot be happen. The data is time critical or time sensitive. So let me give a clear example. So for example, we use CCTV to watch live what's happening around a building or inside a building. Now that such CCTVs are connected using USB to a server or computer. What CCTV records, that camera records on live, it has to reach the data into the server so that it can record it. So when something that time is running, recording keep happening in this CCTV camera, that data is continuously streamed or continuously transferred as the recording is continuous, data is also continuously transferred to the server and server keep recording the video. Imagine if something the CCTV data reaches after 5 minutes to the server. So that means there is no meaning of live recording, you cannot see live things happening in the server. So this is called time critical or time sensitive information. For example, one more example I can give is you are watching a movie in the your laptop. You have connected speaker using USB. You have connected your woofer system, home theater system using your speakers using USB to the laptop. Now movie is playing. As soon as your processor generates a movie sound audio, it should quickly reach the speaker. Speaker is IO device connected through USB. What happens as the audio generated by the processor do not quickly reach the speaker? That means in movie, video is playing somewhere, thus different audio will be played in the speaker. Because that audio is time sensitive. As soon as it generates, it should immediately reach speaker so that the relevant audio appears in the speaker as movie is continued. So these type of data which has to be live transferred, real time data, we call it as real time data. As it is happening, it should be reach another destination. So for this type of real time data or time sensitive data that has to be transferred between processor and IO devices is called isochronous traffic. The data has to be continuously on live, must be streamed or transferred to one end to another end. For that purpose, USB is used. And you can see this in a real most of the time such actually devices are connected using USB, like your speakers or your CCTV cameras. There are a lot of things. Okay, even for your mouse, as you move the mouse, the new position of the mouse immediately should reach the processor. Otherwise what happens, the mouse movements will not be very smooth as you expect. So these are called isochronous transfer, where we transfer real-time data, we live stream the data from one end to another end. This is most important in the USB. Here we have discussed electrical characteristics of USB. So what exactly USB contains, when we see physically what is there in USB. Basically, if you open a USB port, you can find out there are only 4 wires. Only 4 wires. One wire transfers plus 5 volt, another wire transfers ground. This is to supply power, because devices require electric power in order to run. Like a mouse or keyboard, you may know that within your keyboard there is no separate power or battery. Now how keyboard works, on which power? The transferred power from the USB itself, plus 5 volt and 0, so 2 ground. So plus 5 volt and ground, 2 wires are used to carry the power to the IO device. Okay, electric power. And 2 more wires, there are only 4 wires, 2 more wires are used to carry the actual data or any information, control information, data information, everything we discussed here, which will be getting transferred on only 2 wires. Now signaling scheme is different. That means, see, in a let us consider low speed device. So USB, initial version of USB supports 2 speeds, right? Low speed and high speed. Then USB 2.0 also supports one more high speed. In low speed, 2 wires plus 5 volt and ground is used to carry the power. Remaining 2 wires actually carries the data. How? If you want to send a signal 1, so 1 bit or bit value might be 1 or bit value might be 0. Right? In low speed, you want to transfer bit value 1, then we will make that particular wire as plus 5 volt. You want to transfer a bit value as 0, then we make that particular wire as ground or 0. I am talking about only those 2 wires which actually carry the data. In that 2 wires, you can transfer 2 bit of information. Right? So to transfer 1, we will make plus 5 volt as use that signal, plus 5 volt, right? To transfer 0, we do not supply the power, or we make it ground. It's a low speed. Now in different speed, high speeds, the amount of voltage to represent 1 and 0 may be varying. Okay, this is actually electrical characteristics of the USB. So this was all about universal serial bus, which is one of the standard IO interface. Under a standard IO interfaces, we covered 3 different standards. One is PCI bus, one is the SCSI bus, and the last part today we discuss universal serial bus. Because of this topic ends here, it actually standard IO interface topic is completed, as well as the second module is also completed. Thank you.